In the beginning, when you were looking for a DJ, what made you decide on Anthony?
We basically we started looking at what music we actually wanted for the ceremony, and for the whole day itself. So basically, we looked at what DJ we kind of wanted them to perform on the actual day. And then we looked at our recommended list of suppliers, didn't we?
Yeah.
From our venue. And then we also spoke to, because we'd found our pianist Zoe Alexandra, and then basically we went from her recommendations, and it was kind of through recommend a friend in a way. So we got a lot of feedback from her, and then when we sort of was looking at him, we looked on the website and also the YouTube videos, didn't we?
Yeah, because I think he's got a good social kind of media presence, which allowed us to...
Which allowed us to see his work beforehand, thinking about it now.
Yeah.
And when we initially contacted him, he did send us a couple of links, I think, on the very first email.
Yeah.
So we were able to see his work, and it wasn't pushy at all. He just said, "Oh, here's what I do. If you want to meet up, then we'll take it a step further." And then we met him for coffee, and we spoke about a few things. And he really impressed us because he did like this kind of presentation as well, and sort of tailor made it to what he kind of thought we would maybe initially like.
It had a lot of options as well. So he was like, so as us as potentially the customers for Tony, we felt at the end of it, we knew that there were certain packages that he could potentially do for us, and I think that felt good. It wasn't like we have to take this.
To one, weren't we? He sort of said, "Oh, here's a few different ideas and a few different packages." Because we'd contacted him quite early, we sort of had a blank canvas almost, so it was quite handy to see what we could achieve and what he had done for other people. Like some of the ideas we didn't go for, but some of them we did. Like he had like party packages with. Say like inflatables with like his DJ set in the evening, but then he also had like the master of ceremony stuff where he put in the love story, which we quite liked.
He has a variety of packages. He's not just a typical DJ that's just going to play some songs.
No,
he knows a wedding. He
knows people as well. I think that's what we gathered from him, because he listened to what we wanted, and then just sort of went from there, really. He made a few suggestions, we made a few suggestions, and we talked about it, and he kind of just put us at ease, really, didn't he? Just put us at ease for what we wanted.
Yeah.
So.
You mentioned the love story.
Yes.
Expand on that for me. What did Tony do for you?
We were both given a questionnaire. We was actually Tony's a very patient guy, because I think he gave it to us months before the wedding, and I think we only gave it to him a few weeks before, where we both had some questions to write out about how we first met.
But our questions were different, we found out afterwards. But he was very he wasn't adamant that we couldn't show each other's answers to each other.
But it's best to do it in private, so it was a surprise on the day, which was quite interesting but I think, Tony just wanted to know a bit about our upbringing, how I proposed. There were some good questions, and what Tony then did behind the scenes, he would kind of blend it, and we used that love story to kind of make our big entrance into our wedding reception, which was really well received. It was a lot of people said, and Tony really did. Tony's a very good speaker, so it was actually he really delivered it in a really clear way.
Yeah, like the answers the questions that he asked were exactly. They were fun. They weren't like really in depth and they weren't really awkward questions. No. They were just nice. And if you didn't want to write something, then you didn't have to. There was no like pressure to fill out everything in fine detail. And then the way, as you said, the way you kind of like delivered it on the day was really nice, because obviously we had some family and friends we hadn't seen for a while, and maybe some of them might not have known the true kind of story
of how we
so
how
the way
we know each other.
The way he kind of incorporated it was really nice, because people then came up going, "Oh yeah," and then when we watched the wedding video back, we're like, "Oh yeah, we said that as well."
Oh, awesome. When you were in the early stages of planning your wedding, when you started thinking about entertainment, what made you decide on a DJ, and how did you go about finding one?
We both love music, so
we both love music.
Music was always, and we were saying when we were younger as kids, the common thing that we said we both loved about weddings when we were young is that we'd always go with our families on the dance floor. So music was always going to be a predominant theme.
DJ, lights, music, you know, just to get everyone up on the dance floor, because we like to dance and go out, and I know our friends and family like to do that as well, which was quite evident on the actual day, which was really nice. But the way we went about it, I guess...
I suppose it's like what you said, and we were a little bit... I think when we arranged our wedding, we were doing maybe a little bit piecemeal, bit by bit, but it was actually when we had booked out the pianist, and we're very much, sometimes we like getting recommendations by things. So a lot of things like you had with the flowers and stuff, you did a lot locally by what you was recommended. So probably from an entertainment side, Zoe kick-started all of that for us of, okay, should we, and because...
Well, because neither of us had got married before. I know it sounds a really stupid question, but we don't know where to start. And everyone who had got married is either like, you know, 20, 30 years down the line, so that wasn't really relevant. And then we also just kind of listened from recommendations and just, I think that's about it really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about
Good,
it.
thank you. Did you interview any other DJs?
No, we didn't actually. We'd got told one very good bit of advice. If you like them, just go with them.
And we didn't have any
questions of doubt when we'd met with Tony. And the other bit of advice that came from that was, if you don't go with them, you're always then going to compare to who you've seen and who you've liked.
I think
and we initially really liked him. He answered everything and he put our minds at rest. And he was just exciting as well, wasn't he? Like the stuff that he was coming out with, and we'd only met him for like an hour or so, but we felt like we'd known him for absolute ages, didn't we?
Yeah, I think he kind of, when your mind set at ease very quickly on something, and I think it's a true testament to Tony that music is such a big part of our lives and we love it so much, and to have that trust when we met Tony, it only took us less. I think we knew in the first 5-10 minutes when we first met Tony, we knew he was the right guy for us, and actually the rest of it was just getting to know about the packages. And we met him I think at a Pret near Sloane Square, and we knew as minute we left there, I think I emailed him pretty much straight away saying, just to confirm 100, because he didn't give any pressure as well, which I liked. He wasn't like a salesperson, you must do this, you must do that. He actually... But
he spoke quite confidently, and he spoke a lot about the music, because the music was important to us, and is important to us, because, you know, there's a variety of different musics that we like as a general collection. And he like, I think on one page, I know it sounds really silly, but he'd had like a load of different themes written down, like say the party, Macarena dances and things that you don't, and then I was like, I don't really want that, but because he'd had all those genres written down, it just made you think what you wanted, what you didn't want, and then he could like flow from that as well. So I really trusted his musical knowledge as well. As a DJ, I thought that was really,
I think also, and I think as a
important.
DJ, when we met with Tony, he's obviously, being a DJ, you must love your music. You're in that field. But the impression I got with him, even if you didn't like a type of music, you'd never know it from Tony.
I didn't get that.
You get that feeling that he obviously probably has a very eclectic base, and he appreciates that everyone likes music for what they like. So if you just want a music full of pop music, or if it was just garage, he had no judgments, he had no prejudice, and actually, for me, that was a key selling point.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Did you have peace of mind during the lead up to your wedding?
Oh yes, definitely. I think, when was the last time we met up with Tony?
I think it was a few weeks before, and I think that was just us quickly, maybe with us just touching base, but he was always readily available if we wanted to meet with him. Very good on emails. If we emailed him, he would respond back. He probably knows all the stresses and the pressures of, probably from a couple's point of view, of organising it, and he did make himself that the communication, whether written or verbal, was always present from him.
And he had the website, didn't he? So he
it's
had
his database
website.
They had a countdown as well.
So they had a countdown for us, and we could put our own songs on there, and that was quite handy.
I like that.
Yeah, because then that covered everything. Because when on the last meeting, I think we'd had to take like a questionnaire booklet, just so that we wrote down everything. So there was like a hard copy. But I think because he'd done the meetups whenever we kind of wanted to, and he'd also done a website and he'd done the questionnaire, he'd really he knew he was prepared, and we knew he was going to be prepared for the day.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So we didn't have any qualms that either he wouldn't turn up, because that was one of our questions to a few people, was like, oh, what would you do on the day if
backup
you didn't?
plan.
Yeah, and he was just like, doesn't matter, I've got like a list of people I can call. And because everything was written down, as I said, there was no real kind of, someone's going to forget something.
No.
Because we spoke to someone yesterday, we spoke to our friends yesterday, and their DJ at a different wedding completely was just quite arrogant, wanted to play his own stuff.
They forgot the wedding song, their
Forgot the
first
wedding
song,
song, wasn't prepared.
which they had to then get off YouTube to then play. Where, when I think of Tony, we were thinking,
We had the
Tony
absolute
Wedding, no
opposite.
way of done it. He edited 2 songs for us, and I think one of the songs we tried to find on iTunes and couldn't. For him, it's like,
Yeah.
don't worry, leave it with me.
Did it? That was
Yeah.
it.
It was seamless.
Yeah.
Good. And the next question, I probably know the answer, but on the day, how did it go?
Oh, fantastic! Yay! No, he was excellent.
Calm,
and
professional, friendly, approachable. Loads of people. I think apparently when we left as well, we left half an hour before and in the evening, and I think some people at the end of it was asking Tony to play songs, and he did.
Yeah.
He's a very good orator, Tony. He's very being a DJ doesn't always mean that you're probably amazing at public speaking, but actually. When we look back at his video, he's very calm. He never stuttered. He added some real great cohesion of the wedding because he was part of organising the receiving line. He obviously introduced us, the best man and bridesmaid.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that he organised, but he wasn't sort of overbearing. And actually, one of his questions, if I think back, was, "How much do you want me to speak during the evening?"
And we said
wasn't
like
it?
a middle range.
And we just said a middle range because he was explaining to us that some people might like a lot of interaction, like with the audience and the dancing and the DJ to keep things going, and some people wouldn't. But we just said just go with like the middle ground, and he really pitched it just right. He wasn't too OTT at any point, and he wasn't like too over enthusiastic that you kind of thought, well, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He just flowed in really nicely with the whole mood of the day.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Yeah, definitely.
Did you feel you had any worries once Tony arrived?
No.
No.
No. I just thought, oh, it's alright, that's it, you know.
Yeah. I think
I was quite
out of all
excited.
of our providers, there was a couple that, and Tony was in that I felt, you do worry about a couple of things because it's just human nature a bit, but Tony was in that elite few that I thought, don't even think about that, don't worry, he's got everything set.
Yeah.
So when we saw him on the day, it was just more like, hey, how you doing? It wasn't like, have you done this, that? We know he had everything set.
Yeah.
Was your best man able to relax more and enjoy the party because he didn't have to take care of the MC role?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah, because I think everyone had their own little jobs on the day to add, because it's such an important role. You kind of it almost
You focus on other things.
You focus on other things, but actually the job that Tony did, like keeping everything going with the whole master ceremonies, the introduction, and the moving the microphone from the speeches.
I think he did give Matt capacity to do other things like the wedding, things
yeah,
like wedding pictures.
and it gave it good structure because
Yeah.
the wedding pictures were taking like obviously their time, and so if they'd have had to have thought of the master ceremonies and moving bits and explaining where people were going and all that malarkey, then it wouldn't have worked as well and it wouldn't have flowed as well. And also because Tony's obviously quite a pro at these things, it was handy because he obviously had the experience, which shone through on the day. Really, I think that's it. Like he just sort of took it and.
But he was always approachable. So if the best man did have a query, he would easily just go up to Tony and ask him.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, wasn't that kind of. What's the word? Kind of, I don't know, angst or something. Yeah.
Were you aware previously that it was possible to find a DJ that could also act as Master of Ceremonies?
Not until
no,
Tony.
actually, not until Tony.
That was going to be. We were technically going to recruit someone different at the wedding to do that. But then when we met Tony and he said, "This is the packages I do," it kind of was like perfect.
It just made sense. Actually.
You don't want too many people on the wedding. Like actually, that to have one person do a DJ and a master of ceremonies, I would recommend that for someone because actually you're dealing with one less supplier and you get someone that can blend both kind of roles together.
And you know they're going to be there maybe a little bit earlier on the day because of having, say, if we'd have booked another if we'd have booked a DJ and a master of ceremonies, we'd have had 2 people turn up at different 2 times a day, and
sometimes they have to work together as well. Where for one person, you know how it operates.
Yeah, so for us, it was an added bonus to actually sit down and go, oh, actually, you can do that as well. So we went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Anthony's role as MC help with breaking the ice between the 2 families and or people that didn't know each other? And more specifically, when he did the Pearls of Wisdom cards?
The Pearls of Wisdom cards were excellent.
I think he definitely did break the ice, because I think, like you said, when he did the love story, people get... For instance, it's good to introduce the best man and the bridesmaid, because obviously they're from different families as well, not from our family, so that was good. And I think you could see that from our video of when Tony was speaking, everyone was really engaged, and then he played kind of some clips of music that kind of got people quite enthused.
Yeah.
And I think the Pearls of Wisdoms was brilliant. And what was so nice of how, I don't know if Tony meant to do it, but he actually picked a selection of some from my family, some from your family, and some from our friends.
Yeah.
So it was kind of different tables were all talking. It was just, I definitely think that was a really good feature.
Yeah, they were definitely good. Because sometimes we try to, as much as you can plan for who sits where on a wedding day, you're never going to get everyone knowing everyone on the table or knowing everything about them. So sometimes we were quite aware that sometimes the conversation might not necessarily flow. So the points of view cards were excellent because you got everyone talking. And everyone thinking as well, and like sharing different stories and having a laugh, and I think it just worked really well. It did work really well. But there was other things as well, didn't he? Because he did suggest we could have done a Mr. and Mrs. game.
There was a lot of packages Tony could do. Yeah,
there were different things, and we didn't feel it was necessary for us, but it was handy to know the different strands that you could go down. But the point of view cards worked really well. Yeah, really good idea.
Did you have much say before the day itself in the music you wanted played? And did Anthony play the songs you wanted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think, and I think we did have a lot of say, and I think the best bit of, one thing I always remember with Tony, he said, look, definitely let me know some songs, but what's the point? And I agree with him. What's the point of writing every single song that you want down? Because I think what Tony said to us is that he will also try and catch the mood as well. If he's playing some Motown songs and he's got maybe a certain network of people up and it's dancing, then why do a most current track that could actually wipe off the dance floor? So he definitely used songs that we suggested, but also added other ones as well to kind of keep the flow going throughout the whole night.
Yeah, one of our interesting songs coming off of that was that because I quite like boy bands, and we also had quite a lot of like 90s garagey sort of R&B, everyone dancing. But there was a song that we didn't suggest to be played, which was an Ed Sheeran one, the Thinking Out Loud song. And I initially had said, I really don't like the slow version because I felt like it was overplayed. And that was just my personal opinion. But what he did, he played it, but he played the remix sped up version, which was fantastic.
Because everyone just went...
But we hadn't suggested it, but he'd obviously, from what we had suggested and the feel on the day perhaps, he'd thought about it and thought, actually, that's going to really work. And it got everyone up dancing. I really loved it.
I loved it. I actually downloaded that song after the wedding because actually I didn't normally like that song, but I love the dance version of it. And I think that is what kind of stands Tony out from normal DJs, in my opinion. I think our opinion. He truly knows music and people, and he blends them two together.
Mm.
Was your wedding day as much fun as you had hoped?
Yes.
Yeah. I think we enjoyed. We weren't stressed at all.
No, we weren't stressed at all, and
we just enjoyed the whole day. It was just kind of, and it's just so nice speaking to people about it afterwards, because for us we think, wow, it's like a whistle stop, but actually, no, everything went to plan.
And everyone mentions the things that we actually took a lot of time on, say, like Tony.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of feedback saying how great it all was. How people actually want the playlist that he played. We had quite a lot of that, didn't we?
Yeah, because one of my previous jobs, I worked for a music licensing company, so a few of the guests are really into their music. And one of the people who has a really mixy, I think her boyfriend's a music producer, and she even said to me, it was the best DJ set ever. How can I hire Tony?
Yeah.
Like literally, because it was such a mixture of every type of genre of music.
Were wedding guests excited, and did they have a good time at your wedding?
hope so.
Yes. I'm saying yes, I'm quite confident on that.
The dance floor was never empty, which was a true indication to us that
It wasn't
people were
empty
enjoying
at
it.
all. And I think actually at one point, Tony just played such great music that everyone was tired at one point, because I think everyone was just like, we want to keep dancing, but we can't.
I think one of our friends' little boys, who was 2 years old, the week before, he'd been in at a wedding, and I think he could literally only stay up till 9 o'clock. He was shattered, but for our wedding, he was up dancing till 10:30.
Yeah.
And things like that truly shares that I think the guests really did enjoy it.
And there was something for everyone, and it wasn't, say, that we've heard of like other parties where basically you'd go and they don't play music for the audience. So, you know, it's just a random set of music and everyone sits down, and we didn't want that, and Tony didn't do that on the day. He got everyone up and dancing, so, and that was perfect for us because that's exactly what we wanted, and we were happy. We never came off the dance floor.
We danced a lot more than we thought we were going to.
Yeah, and you didn't want to come off the dance floor because the way the songs flowed as well, you were like, oh, I'll dance to this one, or I'll dance to that one. So
yeah, and then that got people into it. Got us and other guests chatting to it. You got sometimes on the dance floor, you can continue still to be social.
Oh yeah, and the musical helped that because the way there were different songs that came on that flowed, and so there was a different shift of people, as you say. Then you could talk to other people on the dance floor. So, yeah.
Were wedding guests excited, and did they have a good time at your... I just asked it, didn't I? Did I just ask it?
Yes.
I did, yeah.
Say again if
There you are, Tony. A bit of editing for you. You've got some work to do. Should have got Steven Spielberg to do this, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Get some special effects and stuff coming.
When it was all over, did you feel a real sense of relief that it went according to plan?
I guess, but we weren't really. I wasn't really worried, so it wasn't really a sense of relief. It was probably more excitement to just think, "Oh wow, it was so exciting to have that."
Everything went to plan.
So it wasn't really a sense of relief. It was more like, "Oh yeah."
But I suppose when you think of it now, you sometimes hear these horror stories, and sometimes it does feel like now actually, like say for instance,
Yeah.
Tony was unable to make it, and so he had to do his backup. For us, that would have changed the day, and it would have known how all the providers worked and stuff. It is that sense of relief, I suppose, that everyone we wanted to be there, not just our friends and family, but the suppliers who we had obviously invested money, but also time to get to know. It was a relief that they could all be there for the day.
Yeah.
Was Anthony good value for money?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, because initially, we didn't particularly pursue other DJs or other prices, but then we made sure that the package that we got we thought was value.
I think we got one of these. I think we got one of the more upper packages because we wanted Anthony to be not just a wedding DJ, but the master ceremony with the added features.
Yeah.
We actually did probably go for more of the premium package, but even in that, he was definitely value for money.
But because we got the master of ceremonies in that, we would have spent money to have
Elsewhere.
that separate.
Yeah.
And have a different aspect of the day as well. And also, like, Tony just had the packages that he put together and the pricing, I thought were quite reasonable for what he produced on the day. And actually, it probably added to a bit of peace of mind. It wasn't as if we looked through the price and went, "Oh, you're really cheap." There was probably something that might happen.
Or the other way was too
It wasn't really
expensive,
expensive where we thought, "Oh my gosh, he's priced himself out." It was, I think the packages were decently priced, and what you got from Tony as just as a list was a small part of it, because it's also his personality that kind of we were paying for as well.
Yeah.
And that kind of just added to the value of each package, really. So yes, I think I think it was good value for money.
Is there any aspect of Anthony's performance that you feel could be improved?
I generally
I don't think
and
so.
I think this is what we've mentioned before. I think again where Anthony sets himself off from maybe other DJs who we've been at things, and it's not a criticism of others, but Anthony, I think he just has his inner confidence, but he's a very humble guy, and I think that comes through. So really how he delivers himself in his professional conduct is, for me, kind of first class, and we said this afterwards. We wouldn't want anything differently of how he interacted with people. He just is a genuinely nice, approachable guy.
Yeah.
Who at his core is humble and also professional. I think when you balance that all together, I wouldn't suggest anything. And in my job, I deal with a lot of different people, and I kind of think we need more Anthonys in my work.
Yeah.
So no.
No, definitely not. No one came up with any negatives on the day at all.
People just said how approachable he was. That's like numerous guests who've gone up to like recommend a song, or maybe were speaking to him. They all came back with the same feedback from him.
Is there any aspect of Anthony's customer services that you feel could be improved?
No, he was contactable by email if we wanted, face to face if we wanted, on the phone if we wanted.
He had an amazing online system where you could document all things.
The online system was there. So, and also the online system kind of meant you could really, if you wanted to, go on there 24/7 to kind of
you could
look
edit
at
things
and edit things and do things more yourself if that's the way you wanted to work. So I would say no, his customer service was really whatever I think he's tailor-made it to whatever customer
he probably gets to know the couple, and then I think Anthony also has a good art that actually something that I've always been told, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth and use it in that proportion, and Anthony's definitely like that. I think he does sometimes. He would just sometimes sit there and listen. He wouldn't be overbearing. He'll listen to what you say and then come back with a response. He wasn't just constantly talking at us. It was never that with Anthony.
No.
What was your favourite memory to take away from your wedding day?
There's quite a few. What, relating to what Tony did, or just generally?
To the day itself.
I think probably.
We both said that. Something we've always said when we've been shown. The one memory we loved was the receiving line.
Yes.
When we got to chat to all of our guests and just kind of
the
have that moment with everyone.
Was the best because we'd had the ceremony, and then in the evening we knew that Tony was playing and the DJ was there, and we'd also had an evening guest. It was the bit in the middle that actually I most loved because of the receiving line, because it meant we were static and people came to us and we saw them for a few minutes, and even though it was a few minutes, we'd obviously felt the need to have them on our day. So to have a few minutes just with that person made us like feel really. I just really liked welcoming them and having that time. And then I didn't feel the need to kind of maybe section myself off later on, where I could dance. Later on and just relax.
I think there was a song that Tony played as well. If we relate to the DJ, there was a song we requested that literally got pretty much everyone up dancing, and that was a really nice moment, just seeing everyone just happy, and because that's what we want.
Uptown Funk?
No, it was the handsome one.
Oh, oh no, that's embarrassing.
No, but
that was really good. Actually, if we are relating it back to the DJ set, there were quite a few poignant songs, and I could literally name quite a few. So there was like Bop. There was also the Eurasia song that he played. The Ed Sheeran.
He did a garage set that my brothers just loved. They were dancing for about literally there. Certain moments like that, which then made us happy, made us even, because at the end of the day, sometimes it is after the church, everything, it can be a very tiring day, but for us still to be like, we were just so, I think the music...
Just had the energy, and I think that's also what the music gave us, was energy to really push through, because it is really a long and tiring day.
Well, you guys were up from about 5:30, 6 in the morning.
We were up at silly o'clock. So I was like really shattered, but actually I didn't feel shattered at all. And I think the music and the way that Tony had handled everything, by that point, that was just, it was all in Tony's hands, and he did it really well, I think. So, yeah.
Finally, is there anything that you would like to say to Anthony?
Thanks.
Thank you
Thank you very much, because we had such an amazing time.
He added that extra level, I think, to the wedding that I don't think, unless there's just something I think that he the master ceremonies, the music, it just added to every other element that we'd spent so much time planning to make sure.
Really added that special touch. Like, everyone we spoke to enjoyed the day and has actually talked about the music and also like the master ceremonies introduction bit. But for us, Tony did what we wanted to and more, I think, on the day, and that's just really the icing on the cake. So.
Yeah, so I want to thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.